If you know even a little about finance and budgeting, you've probably heard of zero-based budgeting at some point. It's one of those terms that gets thrown around a lot, but many people either misunderstand it, overcomplicate it, or think it's just too much work. Some assume it's only for people with big businesses or fancy spreadsheets. Others think it means spending every last dollar and having nothing left over. And some just hear budget and immediately feel like it's about restricting their money instead of controlling it. But here's the truth. Zero-based budgeting is actually one of the simplest, most effective ways to manage your money. It's not about limiting yourself. It's about giving every dollar a job before you spend it. And once you get the hang of it, you'll wonder how you ever managed your money without it. In this video, we're going to break down zero-based budgeting in a way that's super easy to understand. No confusing jargon, no complicated spreadsheets, just a clear, simple method that anyone can use to take full control of their money. And if you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you won't miss out on future videos where we share more money tips, budgeting tricks, and financial insights to help you make the most of your hard-earned cash. Zero-based budgeting. So now, what exactly is this budgeting approach, and why do so many financial experts swear by it? Let's take a look. Zero-based budgeting is a method where you build your budget from scratch, starting at zero. That means you don't just copy last month's expenses and tweak a few numbers. Instead, you justify every single expense before it gets added to your budget. Think of it this way. Imagine you're packing for a trip. Instead of just throwing everything into your suitcase like you did last time, you lay out each item and ask yourself, do I really need this? Does this add value to my trip? If the answer is no, you leave it behind. That's exactly how zero-based budgeting works. Every dollar has to prove its purpose before it gets a spot in your budget. If an expense isn't necessary or doesn't serve a clear goal, you cut it out. This helps you eliminate wasteful spending and make sure your money is working for you. As Thomas Jefferson wisely said, never spend your money before you have earned it. This is exactly what zero-based budgeting helps you do. Instead of blindly spending, you assign every dollar to a specific purpose, whether it's savings, investments, or essential expenses. So how the zero-based budgeting process works. To make this work, you need to follow a few simple steps. If you want to use zero-based budgeting in your life, here's exactly what you need to do. Step 1 is to start with your goals. Before you start assigning money to different categories, first ask yourself, what do I want my money to do for me? Maybe you want to build an emergency fund, pay off debt, invest for the future, or simply stop feeling like your money disappears every month. Whatever your goals are, write them down. Your budget should work for you, not just be a list of numbers. The next thing you need to do is to write down every single expense. List everything you spend money on. We mean everything. Rent, bills, groceries, subscriptions, transportation, entertainment, savings, even that occasional impulse purchase. This isn't about cutting things yet. This is just about knowing where your money is currently going. Be honest. A budget only works if it reflects real spending habits. The next step is the important one. Question everything. Here's where zero-based budgeting really makes a difference. Instead of just keeping all your old expenses, question each one. Look at each item on your list and ask yourself, do I actually need this? Is there a more affordable way to get the same result? Is this expense helping me achieve my financial goals? For example, if you're paying for a gym membership but barely go, maybe it's time to cancel it and switch to home workouts. If you have 3 different streaming services, ask yourself if you really use all of them. Even small cuts add up over time. Now that you've trimmed unnecessary expenses, it's time to assign your money to specific purposes. Think of your income like a group of employees. You need to give each dollar a job before the month starts. That means every dollar has a place, whether it's for rent, groceries, debt payments, savings, or investments. Let's say you make $3,000 per month. You decide $1,200 goes to rent, $500 for groceries, $300 for bills, $300 for savings, $200 for debt repayment, $300 for fun and entertainment, and $200 for unexpected expenses. Now, your entire income has been assigned, and nothing is left sitting around without a purpose. That way, you're always in control of your money, instead of wondering where it disappeared. The best part about zero-based budgeting? It's flexible. Your budget won't look the same every month, and that's okay. Some months you might have extra expenses, like car repairs or holiday shopping. Other months you might have more money left to save. The key is to start fresh every month and adjust based on your needs. This isn't about making your budget perfect. It's about making sure your money is being used in a way that actually helps you. Why this works? Because zero-based budgeting forces you to be intentional with your money. No more guessing, no more overspending. Every dollar has a plan, so you're always in control. And as Oprah Winfrey once said, you can have it all, just not all at once. That's what budgeting is all about, prioritizing the things that matter most and making your money work for you, not the other way around. How zero-based budgeting can help. Now that we've broken down how zero-based budgeting works, let's talk about when should you actually use it. Because not everyone has the time to build a budget from scratch every single month. Some people barely have time to make one once a year. So, does that mean zero-based budgeting is too much work? Not at all. The great thing about this method is that you don't have to use it all the time. You can use it when it makes sense for you. Some people do it once a year just to reset their budget and clean up unnecessary spending. Others do it every few months to make sure they're staying on track. And if you really love having full control over your money, you might want to do it every single month. Here's when zero-based budgeting can really help. Let's say you've been budgeting for a while, but you still feel like your money is disappearing. You're making decent money, but at the end of the month, your bank account doesn't reflect it. Where did it all go? If that sounds familiar, this is the perfect time to start from scratch and give every dollar a job. Zero-based budgeting forces you to look at your spending with fresh eyes, so you can see exactly where your money is going and fix anything that isn't working. Or maybe your financial situation has changed recently. You got a raise, lost a job, started a side hustle, or had a big life event like getting married or having a baby. In times like these, your old budget might not work anymore. Instead of tweaking a few numbers and hoping for the best, zero-based budgeting helps you completely rethink how you use your money based on your new situation. And then there's the classic reason. You just want to save more and spend smarter. Maybe you're working toward a big goal like paying off debt, saving for a house, or building an emergency fund. If you're serious about reaching that goal, zero-based budgeting can help you find extra money in places you didn't even realize you were overspending. Zero-based budgeting versus traditional budgeting. Now, let's compare zero-based budgeting to the traditional way of budgeting, because a lot of people wonder, why should I do all this extra work when I can just use my old budget and make small adjustments? Here's the difference. With traditional budgeting, most people just copy and paste last month's numbers. If you spent $300 on groceries last month, you put $300 in the grocery category again. If your rent was $1,200, you put $1,200 again. Maybe you increase or decrease some things slightly, but for the most part, you just build on what you did before. But what if you're overspending without realizing it? What if your money could be used in a smarter way? That's where zero-based budgeting is different. Instead of assuming last month's budget still makes sense, you start from zero and question every single dollar. For example, let's say you've been budgeting $200 a month for entertainment. Do you actually need that much? Maybe you've been spending $80 on streaming services, but you only really use one of them. Maybe you've been eating out every weekend, but half the time you regret it because the food wasn't even that good. Zero-based budgeting makes you think about whether that money is really being used in the best way possible. It's like cleaning out your closet. If you never go through your clothes and just keep adding more, eventually you'll have a bunch of stuff you don't even wear. But if you go through everything piece by piece and ask, do I actually wear this? Then suddenly you have a much more organized, functional wardrobe. That's exactly what zero-based budgeting does for your finances. Now, let's talk about how businesses use zero-based budgeting, because it's not just for personal finance. In fact, some of the biggest companies in the world use this method to cut unnecessary costs and make sure every dollar is being used wisely. Here's the problem with traditional budgeting in business. Many companies give their managers a set budget at the beginning of the year, and if they don't use all the money, they lose it the next year. So what do? They spend it, whether they need to or not, just so they don't get a smaller budget next time. That's how companies end up wasting millions of dollars on things that don't actually add value. But with zero-based budgeting, that doesn't happen. Every department has to justify its expenses from scratch, which means wasteful spending gets cut, and money goes where it's actually needed. That's why companies like Coca-Cola, Kraft Heinz, and Unilever have used zero-based budgeting to improve their financial efficiency. And the same strategy can work for you. Now, if you're wondering, should I switch to zero-based budgeting forever? The answer is, it depends. Both budgeting styles have their place. If you want something easy and don't want to rethink everything each month, traditional budgeting might be enough for you. But if you want to get super intentional about your money, zero-based budgeting is one of the best ways to do it. Even if you don't use it all the time, it's a good idea to do a zero-based budget at least once a year to reset and make sure your money is being used in the best way possible. It's like a financial spring cleaning. You might not want to do it every single month, but once in a while, it's incredibly helpful. At the end of the day, what matters most is that you're in control of your money. As Benjamin Franklin once said, "Beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship." If you're not careful, small expenses can drain your finances without you even noticing. Zero-based budgeting helps you plug those leaks before they turn into big problems. So, what do you think about this budgeting method? Let us know in the comments section. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone who might need a little budgeting help. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on more videos like this. We're always breaking down personal finance in a simple, no-nonsense way to help you take control of your money. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, and happy budgeting.